everyone. I'm Dr. Cindy Howard, your host of the Positively Altered podcast. So today is going to be really interesting because we are going to talk about a sport that I claim to hate, and that is golf. And I was sort of sucked into the sport, and I've been playing for 3 years, and I probably don't really hate it. I just like to say that because I'm really bad at it. But my next guest is going to absolutely blow you out of the water because where I'm going to tell you I'm not a good golfer, he is a fantastic golfer, but he does it sitting down. I know. What? What? Sitting down? All right, go get a drink. Go figure out where you got to sit and listen to this podcast, but don't disappear. Listen to our sponsors because they're really important to me, and then come back because you're going to meet somebody who literally golfs sitting down. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? Welcome back to the Positively Altered podcast. I am so excited to share this story with you. So before I tell you the name of my next guest, let me give you a little context. I'm in Arizona professionally on a trip out there for business. I'm scheduled to speak. My boyfriend came with me, and we decided that we were going to play a couple rounds of golf at the resort that we stayed at. So we sign up, there's the two of us, and we come to find out that there's going to be two other people playing with us. One gentleman walks up, we meet him, he's lovely. Next thing we know, another gentleman is wheeling himself up in an adaptive golf cart. And I believe it was the starter, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, that said, "Ooh, you guys drew the short end of the stick today." Quote, end quote, right? That was how we were introduced to my next guest, Mr. Larry Celano, who golfs literally sitting down. Larry, I'm so excited to spend this time with you. It was such a cool experience. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. Yeah, no, the starters at my golf clubs are pretty good. They always warn people that you're in for a treat today, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. And by the end of the day, they've come to enjoy playing with me, and it's kind of amazing that as I started out on my golf journeys back in 2001, I never ever expected to be an inspiration to people. And fast forward 23 years now, and it's like, I am president of the Cedar Golf Association. I am on the USAGA, a competition committee. I've won numerous golf tournaments. I've traveled all over the country playing adaptive golf, and I got pretty good at it.
Oh my
So,
gosh. So
yeah, but
I'm mad at the starters though, because the short end of the stick is not true at all. I mean, like I would pick you to be on my team any day as far as that score goes, right? Because like I'm just dying to break 100. And what do you shoot normally?
well, right now I got my game down to I'm seeing a lot of high 70s, low 80s right there. I went out and played in adaptive golf out in Philly with a Gap adaptive open there, and I had one of my rough weeks out there, so the numbers spiked there, but that was just an anomaly. So I'm excited for my next tournament here coming up.
Oh my God, Larry, I mean, people standing up can't shoot in the 70s.
Well, but it's a lot of work. If you see, I mean, I'm out there grinding. It's kind of cool because we're Whirlwind Golf Club out in Chandler, Arizona, where I get to play. Well, the joke is I'm the mascot there, but I'm the ambassador out there. I'm an ambassadorship out there, so they allow me to hone my craft out there. Because without them, there's no way I would have the ability to get out 4 or 5 days a week to get good. I mean, I've like I said, I've lowered my game in the last year from the upper 80s, mid 80s to the upper 70s, mid low 80s now. So it's a big
Amazing.
thanks out to Whirlwind for allowing me to do what I do.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, you inspired me that day. There's no doubt about it. You know, I sit and I think, oh my gosh, like the sport is so hard and I don't always enjoy. I mean, I love being outside and I love being with people, but the sport is very frustrating to me. There's no doubt about it. And I took a very different perspective, I think, after playing with you. It was really you are inspiring, but
Thank
actually
you.
maybe not even always in the way you think. It was in a unique way for me, not necessarily sport related, but to take adversity, right, which you've walked through, I've walked through, and lots of our listeners have walked through, and figure out how to turn it into something that's really truly joyful for you. And here you're playing in a sport that you love and changing people's lives by being that inspiration. It's just really it's commendable. So thank you for being here and
Oh,
chatting. This is great.
it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I mean, anytime I get to talk about adaptive golf and myself, I always jump at the opportunities. It's always fun. I sometimes I get on a good roll. So let's see what we can come up with today.
Let's see. So people do love to talk about themselves. So let's go there. Let's just bring people up to speed as to how you wound up, right, having to actually have to sit down and golf. Can you get like, let's talk about your history. Share the story, if you will, with everybody, because I think it's fascinating how you got from a certain point in your life in the military, correct, to this point today.
Correct. Well, I'll keep it short. Back in '89, I was part of the 82nd Airborne Division when we invaded Panama. I got shot there 3 times, and I became a paraplegic L1, L2 incomplete spinal cord. Uh, I went through all my rehabs and everything. It took, I was in San Antonio, Texas for 7 weeks where they kind of patched me up. They flew me from Panama to San Antonio. And that's where, I got, I got to call my family that day from the hospital to let them know that I got hurt and, that I needed them. And so they flew out. They were there for Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve is a big thing in our family. So at least I had my family there. So I spent my 7 weeks there with my dad and my grandmother were there the whole time. And then I got family coming in and out sporadically for that whole 7 weeks. Then fast forward, then they transferred me to Long Beach, VA, for my rehab, which I spent a year and a half there. But that was the first 4 months was my rehab. And then after that, I was in like a research program, which was great. I had the time of my life. I was 21 years old, had money in my pocket, and I was living in Southern California. And I didn't have a thing to worry about. So it was great. Then I got back. I got back back to Arizona in '91. And that's when I went I went to community college first. I went to South Mountain Community College for 2 years, got my, no, I didn't get a minor in there. But then I transferred over to ASU, got my major. I majored in accounting and got a minor in political science.
Oh my
And
God.
then I went and worked. Go ahead.
When were you at ASU? What years?
I graduated in '97. So I
Oh,
was there.
I'm older than you are. I was there in 87 to 89. I was at Arizona State. So I'm
Yeah, you're a little, but remember, I went to the Army for 4 years. I had a stint where I didn't go. So I didn't start college until I was, what was I? I was 21, 22.
okay.
So when I graduated, I was in my like 27. So, so I got my degree in that, and then I worked for the state of Arizona for 5 years, and that's where I met my beautiful wife. I re-retired in 2001 because my body started breaking down a little bit, and I was making more money than everybody else, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't need to go through this. So I re-retired back in 2001, and then I picked up golf because of my buddies were starting to pick up golf in the early 2000s, and ever since then, it's been a lifelong journey. And then fast forward to 2019, I played in my first competitive adaptive golf tournament, and that was in Virginia with the United States Disabled Golf Association. Jason Faircloth and John Bell ran that one, and I was hooked ever since. Long story short, I always tell it to everybody else. You know, that first morning of that tournament, I woke up and I was just crying. I was just crying. Well, I called my dad. I called my dad in the morning, and I just started crying. Just, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's like, Dad, I've been waiting 30 years for this. You know, since the day I got shot, I've been waiting to compete with my peers, and that day happened. And that day was that day. And but ever since then, it was just like I got done with that tournament. I started hiring a trainer. I started practicing more, and you know, I could tell people at 50 years old, when you get a new lease on life to actually be competitive and be able to compete, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, that's supposed to be for 20 and 30-year-olds, not 50-year-olds. And that's what adaptive golf did for me. Got me all excited.
So you never even touched a golf club before you were injured?
No, I was a baseball player. You know, I'm short, 5'6". How far are you going? You know, so I joined the army. I could dodge bullets, but no. But yeah, no, I never picked up a golf club until there was one time in the 90s. I was in my wheelchair. We went out, buddies of us, we were all messing around. We went out to one of the city courses, and I was messing around. I got to play a par 3, and I actually parred it, but that was all that was. It was nothing beyond that. So.
Oh my gosh, Larry, the only thing I've ever parred, I think, was mini putt-putt. I wouldn't even know what that is. My boyfriend makes fun of me because when I shoot 1 or 2 over par, which I know has a name, I go, "Oh, I got 2 over par." And he goes, "That sounds ridiculous. That's not what it's called." I said, "But it sounds better when the word par is." So
yes, it does sound better.
doesn't it? See, I don't use the right terms, but I don't care. It doesn't
No.
matter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So do you think you always had sort of that competitive spirit, or did it come on after the injury more so? Almost like, was there something to prove to yourself, or did you always have that?
Well, I mean, just in general, I mean, I was always competitive. I mean, when I was a little kid, I mean, I'd play basketball by myself I just had the one basket, and I'd play, you know, like counting down and shooting. And so I was always competitive. You know, with my brother growing up, I had an older brother. We always were competitive. Even my friends growing up, always competitive. Just being in the army, you were just competitive in general, you know, because, you know, you want to be stronger, bigger, faster. So yeah, no, I've always had a competitive spirit. I just, like I said, when I got hurt, it was gone. I didn't, I never picked up basketball. I wasn't a wheelchair basketball player just because of, you know, you're playing against other players that were not as spinal cord patients. So I kind of got drawn up that. And then, you know, just looking for, you know, competitiveness. And then, like I said, when I found that 2019 started playing the adaptive golf, it was just like, oh my God, this is just heaven. I mean, I got a new leaf life. I mean, there's one song that I always like to refrain to. When was the last time you did something for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about that. You know, as you get older, I mean, you've done a lot of things, but when have you actually done something for the first time? You know, so that's kind of how I run with that one.
Okay, so it's the first time you're golfing, sitting down. How'd you do? Did you love it? Were you frustrated?
Well, I took a slow approach. I'm a slow because I don't want to make a fool out of myself. But what it is, I Google. Well, it wasn't Google back then. I just did an internet search. And I just looked up disabled golf or whatever, and I got fortunate enough came across a lady who taught out at Palo Verde here in Arizona. Her name was Kathy Corbin, and I reached out to her, and I went out there, and I would go out there I don't know if it was like once a week. I'd go there, do lessons with her in my wheelchair. Cause I was just in the wheelchair then. And, I'd go there and I'd go to the driving range. I'd practice and I'd come back and I'd go back. And then, she came to me one day and goes, Larry, there's a special adaptive cart over at one of the city Phoenix courses over to Gila. That's, you can get on it. It was a solar rider. And, so I went over there and I did the same thing for like a week. Went on the driving range in my wheelchair and all that. And then finally the guy's like, then I got in the cart and used the cart. And I would do that for like a week or two. And the head pro's like, are you ever going to take that thing out there? Or are you just going to sit on the driving range? So I was like, all right, well, so I went out there. My first round was 127.
Okay.
And it was, but, I've ran into a couple other guys that played adaptive golf at that time. And they're like, by no time you'll be at least a bogey golfer. And so my claim to fame is I hit my first hole in one before my first birdie. So I was like, yeah. So that was kind of amazing. Actually, my trophy's over there, but it's back there somewhere. But yeah, so that's one of the things I did. I hit a hole in one before my first birdie, which is pretty much unusual because a hole in one is kind of luck, but yeah, I did it. So, but yeah, so like I said, it just, golf has just opened a whole new world, give me a whole new lease on life.
So Larry, now that you've discovered that you want to play and you love the sport of golf, did golf open up its arms, so to speak, and take you in, or were there lots of challenges along the way?
Well, there was a lot of challenges because, like I said, being in a wheelchair, you needed a special adaptive cart. We call mobility devices. And that was the biggest issue. Where can you find them? Where are they? They were very limited. So what happened is, in 2005, because what I did is I called everybody in their mother. I called the Department of Justice. I called, I called the Department of Justice. I called the state attorney generals. I called everybody and their mother. What can I do? I mean, and the bottom line is everybody's told you need to get a lawyer. And it's like, really? I mean, the guy that got shot defending the country, I have to go out and hire a lawyer. And so what we did is we had to, me and a couple guys, we ended up suing the Marriott for access. I got rub-offs on that. People like, oh, why are you suing? But the thing what I always say about my lawsuit was for access. I didn't get a dime off it. I didn't make a penny off it. I didn't try to sue for money. Actually, when they brought me out to San Francisco to deposition me. And the first thing out of the lawyer's mouth is, what do you want? And I'm, here I was puzzled, like, what do you mean I want to golf? He goes, no, how much do you want? And I'm like, sir, I don't need your money. The VA takes very good care of me. I need access to the golf course. And that kind of threw him for a curveball there because it's like, whoa. I mean, he doesn't know. All I want to do is golf. So we ended up settling with the Marriott on that. And so Marriott puts them out there. So that's the biggest hurdle for, say, a wheelchair player is to get carts at these golf tournaments and all that. So that's why we a bunch of us guys got together and started thinking about what we can do about this. And that's why we started what we call the United States Seated Golfers Association, is to kind of help alleviate some of that issues out there.
I love that. So how many members do you have of the Seated Golfers Association to date?
I just sent out an email to everybody this week to kind of let them know what we're doing. And I sent it out to 43 players actually.
Okay.
And then there are quite a few that haven't signed up yet just because we're just getting our feet wet with this. But yeah, there's a good number out there. So we're hoping to grow our base and then, like I said, reach out to people and figure out how we can lead up to have our own championship where it's all seated players to get out there and play.
So there's tournaments right now, but not championship tournaments, correct?
Oh, no. There's what it is this past year, I think we had over 40 adaptive golf tournaments throughout the country.
Wow.
And then there's a lot more in Europe and all that as well. What it is our tournaments are basically a bunch of tournaments within one tournament. For instance, we have two models that we go by. One is with the U.S. Adaptive Golf Alliance, which has 15 classifications. And examples are, one would be below. So I get that one's below the knee, one's above the knee, another one's double amputee. So that'd be the 1, 2, 3. And then you got one arm and unassisted. Then you got neurological. You got like we are seated. You got short statured. You got intellectual, and then you got neurological. So there's 15 within the U.S. Now, what the internationals and the USGA have done with their US Adaptive Open, they narrowed down to eight classifications. So there's a little two different kind of things, but within a tournament, just say with the USAGA, like we just had the tournament in Philadelphia, what they'll do is we had a 60 player field. Now everybody has their own disability, so they'll put them all their different they'll have an overall winner, which I don't really particularly care for overall winner, but that's what you got to do right now. And then each classification, each class will have their own champion in each one of those. So they're like multiple tournaments within a tournament. And that just gives everybody a fair chance to actually compete. What the USGA is doing is they have 8 classes and they also have an overall. But what they're doing right now, they're still working with yardages to kind of get the yardages to where, like, say a seated player can hit a driver and use almost similar clubs that somebody that plays back a little further that can hit the ball further. So that's what we're kind of doing. So there are multiple tournaments within a tournament in a sense.
So, like, I know when I've played in tournaments, they'll move the starting pins, right? So that's what you're talking about, right? Is they'll adjust
the tee boxes.
Course.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't speak.
See,
I play golf, Larry.
Yeah, you're good. No, the tee boxes.
Let's move some pins around, Larry, and score like 3 over par and call it a day.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. The goal is, I mean, we're like seated players. We're getting frustrated that you got to hit driver 5 wood, and it's like when somebody else is, I'm hitting a 5 wood at 150, 50, 60 yards. Well, another player is hitting like an 8 iron or a 7 iron. And it's a lot easier to hit those irons than those woods. So that's what they're kind of trying to figure out with that right now.
That's pretty neat. I joke with the ladies. I play in a ladies league at our country club out here. And I joke that I want to start a ladies tournament where it's a par 7, 8, 9 course so that we all have a chance of being average. Because, with par 3, 4, 5,
yeah, no.
So I might, and I'm not diminishing what you're doing, but I might need my own adaptive sort of tournament here for the ladies who are not very good golfers,
Well, that's what people are, like I've had these conversations lately with a lot of people out there is the game of golf is supposed to be enjoyable and fun. Okay. If you're out there frustrated because you don't hit like a lot of the older guys, they want to still keep playing back, move up. I mean, you're not hitting the ball as far. Well, no, because what USGA and the RNA have done over the last couple of years is they made the index more competitive or equitable for the different tee boxes. So if, you're a 14 index at one tee box and you move up, well, you're not getting a 14 stroke. You're only getting, maybe not like me. I'm a 13 and a half from the forward tees. Well, I'm only getting 7 or 8 strokes. I'm not getting 13. So for me to shoot my par, I still have to shoot that high 70. Whereas, if you move me back another tee box, now I'm getting the 14 strokes, but it's going to be harder for me to get there because now I'm using longer clubs and longer clubs are harder to hit. But
see, Larry, this is why you and I would make a good partnership in a competition because my index is 46.5.
Yeah.
So I would get us a lot of strokes no matter where we
start.
Yes,
you would. Yeah, you would. Yeah. I'd make up for it. Yeah.
I start negative strokes every time I tee off. So there's a small chance that I could actually say that I won something.
Yeah. So. But so that's what we're working on, those kind of things to kind of get the tee boxes all in the right places for everybody. So
yeah.
But then, like I said, most of our tournaments are multiple tournaments within a tournament.
So where do we get to watch you? Where are you next if somebody wants to come out and see you play the sport?
Well, my next tournament, actually, the Arizona Golf Association is putting on an adaptive tournament in December. It's 9th, 10th, and 11th. The practice rounds the 9th, and then the 10th and 11th over at Papago here in Arizona. So that's the season-ending one for me. I actually had a good year this year. This will be my 6th tournament, and I played in a qualifier. So, I mean, like I said, without my wife allowing me to do what I do, my wife is just, she's an angel to allow me to do what I do. Without trying to be a downer or anything, just real quick background. I have identical twin daughters with Down syndrome who have diabetes, who have autism. So for me to leave for a week or even 6 days is taxing on her. And, she's wonderful. I love her to death. And without her allowing me to do that, I would, but she understands, we've known each other. Like I said, we work for each other at the state. We've known each other for 20 plus years. And she understands the competitive spirit in me, the fire in me, and how just, I tell people when you get hurt at a young age and you get old and early in life and you find the passion and you can actually excel at it. It's just unbelievable. Never in my life, when I first got it, never my wildest dreams did I think I'd be where I am today.
Yeah, it's
with
amazing.
Sports.
So take me back a little bit, Larry, because I think it's hard. When we have adversity in our life, a lot of us just run down a rabbit hole that's very negative, and you did the exact opposite. Do you ever regret serving our country in the military? Do you regret some of those choices?
Oh, no. I could tell people there's everything in my life. It happened for a reason, and nothing. Not that way. I didn't get shot for a reason. I never regret anything I've done in my life. There's only one thing that I regret in my life, and that was the one time I yelled at my son, and that was it. That was the only thing. Everything else, no. I've done a lot of crazy things in my days, and it made me who I am. Whether it be bad, good, or indifferent, I don't regret anything I did. The Army was one of the greatest things I ever did in my life. The reason why I joined was, and it's kind of a corny thing. It was realistically, I joined the Army so I'd give my life up so some younger kid can grow up to have a chance to live the American dream. And that's wholehearted. I remember saying that back when I was in the Army to one of the girls that I dated in the Army and stuff like that. And it's still true to this day. For me, I got to 18, 19, 20 years old. If I happen to die that day, well, I know at least I gave somebody a path to be able to come up and be able to become a young man or young woman in this great country we live in.
That's amazing. Sometimes I wonder, and I love that you made the comment that, you're being taken care of, right? Because I see, unfortunately, sometimes some of our veterans are not taken care of in the way that I wish they were all the time. And I'm so truly grateful for your service and everybody who has given just exactly what you've given, whether it's been for a moment or a lifetime, because I do think that this is the greatest country that we have. And we need to protect, right? We need to stand up and protect for others. And thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, for your service, because you gave so much that you didn't ask for. And I'm not even sure, that people really understand how much that is.
But one thing you always got to remember, I volunteered to do what I did, and I loved doing what I did, and I would do it all over again. If I died that day in Panama, that's just. My grandfather said, my grandfather was great. I was in the hospital. He goes, "You dummy, you didn't run fast enough." Like, come on, Graham, give me a break. But no, it was one of the worst things that could ever happen to a family, especially around the holidays. But between my family and friends and the medical team and the staff at Wilford Hall and staff at Long Beach VA, I had a great time. My joke, and I mean this sincerely. It's a joke the way I said it, but I had free drugs and beautiful women taking care of me. I say it as a joke when I say it that way, but no, I had so much support, because I tell people all the time, the only way you're going to get through this is through support. I had, I wish I would have brought it out, but I didn't. This one young little girl, I was young too, so she was 16 years old. She saved all her money up. She made this beautiful banner. She came out to Wilford Hall when we were out there, and she brought this joy to us. Just little things like that. I had so much support. I got to meet the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. How can you not be happy? I got Miss America showed up, and me and my grandfather the only ones that saw her. For me getting shot, I had one of the best times of my, a really good time. But that's, I learned to take lemons and make lemonade or something like that. But
Yep.
yeah, no, like I said, I had so much fun in San Antonio. I mean, you know, I got so many stories. I mean, just, the time one of the nurse guys, cause when you were in North Carolina, I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, you had to have a college basketball team. And at the time, the U of A was a good basketball team, so that was like my team. I talk crap to all the NC State fans, all the North Carolina fans down there. And then when I got shot, I was in San Antonio, and the Bulls were coming to town playing the Spurs. And I was like, Jordan's in town. So the nurse, who's my male nurse, he got on the phone. I told him, Dad, I think I'd like to do that. That'd be fun, Dad. Well, he came back and he goes, guess where you're going tonight? I go, where? Because you're going to go to the Bulls and Spurs game. I was like, then I started getting nervous though, because now I'm going out in public in a wheelchair. Now that was my biggest fear, is that whole getting out and showing myself. Because we grew up in the 80s, 70s and 80s. We made fun of people that didn't look like you and all that stuff. Not good, bad karma and all that. But, that was my tear. I was so afraid to go, but, I got out there, I did it. And then, like I tell the story goes, when I got home, I've gone to concerts by myself. I've gone to sporting events by myself, and naturally I go with friends and all that. But if people didn't want to go, I wasn't being stopped because I was worried about what I looked like anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. It was interesting when we were playing, because we played 18 holes. I don't think I asked you about your story until we were getting near the end, right? We had a couple
Hmm.
holes left. I think my boyfriend was touting the book and bragging on me a little bit, and we got to talking about some of our journeys and our adversity, and then it was really cool, because I'm a big fan of just asking people, right? When you see
Yeah.
somebody that might look different, act different, be different. I mean, we're all different, right? At the end of the day, but I guess I'll ask you how you feel about that. Is I've always taken the approach of just ask. If somebody wants to tell you their story, they will, and if they don't, they can shut you down. But rather
Hmm.
than wondering, just chat with people and learn from them. And it was so cool that you were willing to open up to me on a golf course and share some of that history. And that's how we got to today, right? I mean, I just
Oh
loved
yeah.
hearing your journey.
I mean, it's, like I said, I've never in the wildest dreams ever thought people would be inspired by a 5'6" Italian from Connecticut. I mean, never in my life. But I learned to love life. One of my favorite sayings is, "He who laughs the most wins." Because I mean, life's a big joke, and people get mad when I say that. Well, I mean, I don't know how else you look at it. I mean, I've been through some adversity. Uh, got married, had kids. My kids have adversity. Me and my wife, we wake up every day. We still still got to go strong. You know, you can't dwell on what could happen or what could have happened, or, you got to keep going. One of the things, with my daughters is, when they were born, it was, it's kind of weird though. Like, the weird things happen, because, I came home, cause they were born, and we did a test, and they said, well, the head deformity, blah, 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 there could be some deformities. Do you want to do this? We didn't want to do anything because they were twins. And, her family's history is the head and all that is normal and all that. So, but anyway, when they were born, that's when I went to to one of the nurses and go, is there anything wrong with my daughter? And she goes, why? I go, well, when we did the test, blah, blah, blah. She goes, well, she went away because I asked that question. And
Mm.
all of a sudden I'm sitting in the nursery, and all of a sudden, the head nurse comes in. She goes, oh, I heard you had some questions about your daughters. And I go, yeah, we're wondering, because of these tests we did, that they said there could possibility of Down syndrome. And, and that's when she said, yeah, they do have Down syndrome, but we can't be for sure because there's no test. It's like, really, lady? You got to take a blood test to tell me? I mean, so, and that day was pretty tough. And that's when cause my wife, bless her heart, she's never really drank or anything. It's like she was all drugged up. So she was getting taken care of. So I couldn't go. So I pulled my sister, and she was like, damn, they got Down syndrome. And, sorry.
Take your time.
So so we're hugging each other, crying and all that. And then, now I have to go out and tell my mother. And that's like, well, I can't do that right now. I can't do that. But, we're fortunate enough that we have a cousin in the family that had Down syndrome, so we knew about it. And that's when
Okay.
I called my cousin. That's when I called my cousin up and said, "Hey, cuz they got Down. I got Down syndrome." He's like, I just remember that day because he's just on the phone. He's like, "Fuck." It's like, really, cuz you're gonna say that? That's the first words out of your mouth for me. But anyway, so I got through that part, and then I went home, and this is the best part of the story, I swear. So I got home, and I got my shower at home, and I just sat in that freaking bathroom, and I cried. I cried. I cried. I don't know how I kept myself from punching the wall, but then I got out of the shower, dried off, looked in the mirror, and looked right in the mirror just like that. Says, "Larry, you will never do that again for those girls." And actually, the only time I cry now is when I talk about them. But
Okay.
I don't sit there and dwindle over that they have Down syndrome, diabetes. But yeah, so that's my that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. No, but
Let us, how are
that
the
was one.
girls today? Tell me how the girls are
What's that?
doing. How are they?
Oh, well, they're great. I mean, we actually just went because they go to a special school. So we just had their monster bash, their boo bash. So yeah, no, they're great. I mean, I got one daughter who's one's nonverbal, one's verbal. So one's more advanced than the other. But my verbal daughter, she's spot on. She's smart. She's funny. She's talented. She'll crack you up. The nonverbal's even funnier.
Okay.
When you get to know her mannerisms and her stuff, like we she won't put on Halloween costumes, and then we had her dressed up as when my wife got her a black shirt that said Wednesday on it, and then a black skirt with and then she put pigtails on it. It's like Wednesday Adams. So she got dressed up as Wednesday Adams. So that's what but yeah, she's a character. She got in her character, but no, they're wonderful. Like I said, they're a joy. The teenage son's a little bit more challenging than they are. So, but yeah, no, but yeah, so that was the last day that I would ever cry for them because of their disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then ever since then, we've gone on trips, and me and my wife laugh at people because, like we went to this one McDonald's one time, or Burger King on the way to California, and we get in there, here comes the guy in the wheelchair, you got the two disabled daughters running around, and the whole older couple goes, "Oh, you got a busy family there." Me and my wife get in the car as we're driving, and the rest of the way goes, "Oh, so that's how people kind of dress. Oh, you're just a busy family." No, we just got a bunch of disabled kids that we're just working to get better.
Right. It's
But yeah,
all
no,
perspective.
yeah, and that's where it comes back to, people, like I said, I laugh all the time. It's like my laughter is my crying. So I'll either cry or laugh. So it's easier to cry and less energy because I'm lazy.
Yeah. You know what? I'm with you, Larry. I shed some tears as well, and I love to laugh, and it's those things that bring us through, and there really truly are some amazing gifts, and I love that your family just brings you those every single day. So what's next? Where are you ranked, and what's the goal in adaptive golf? What's next?
Okay, well, I'm one of the top seeded golfers in the world. I mean, rankings. I mean, I'm third in all the rankings or whatever. The younger kids are really good. Uh, my goal with my golf is to give another good year. Every year I try to give another good year. As you get older, you're going to lose stuff. So my goal is to try to still compete for that U.S. Adaptive Open. And this year it's going to be in Maryland.
Nice.
So that's my goal with golf. My bigger ambitions is, I'm really proud of the start that we have to what we call the United States Seeded Golfers Association. Really big goal there is to kind of get a championship where we have all seeded players. So that's where my goals right now are with golf, is to kind of keep pushing forward with getting better, to try to compete with the younger kids, and then also to one day we're hopefully next year we can have a seeded golfers championship.
And in order to do that, Larry, we need to help get you sponsors, correct? This takes some money.
Correct. Yes. And that's for me as a happy-go-lucky guy. I'm not really good at trying to do that. I mean, yes, we do need sponsors. We need donations. We need anything and everything. I say all help is good help, but yeah, it's a big feat. Getting the adaptive carts is a big expense. So that's where our biggest expense is. And that's kind of why we started the Cedar Golf Association, is to kind of figure that out. Cause a lot of these other tournaments are starting to hesitate about the cost to get them there. So we're trying to be that bridge for the rest of the stops along there as well. Uh, so that's our main goal, is to kind of get that championship. Like I said, we do need sponsors. We need title sponsors. We need little sponsors. We need donations. We are 501c3, so it is a charitable contribution. So that's what we do need. Yes, you're
All right.
correct
Well,
on that.
Larry, I have no problem asking people for money. Actually, I think it's fun to ask people for money. So if there's anybody out there that just loves Larry's story, loves golf, or just really wants to help, if you have access, if you have a company, if you know somebody that would like to get involved in adaptive golf, please reach out, make a donation. As the saying goes, nothing is too small. We'll take everything that's large, right?
Yeah.
How do they get a hold of you, Larry, in order to help make a donation or just support, the message?
Well, you can reach out. You could always reach out to me on Facebook or whatever, but, you can reach out to me with my email address. It's, cards 227 @gmail.com. You can look us up on the cedicgolfers.org. If you just want to do a donation, there's a way to donate there. But yeah, you can just reach out to me. I mean, I'll respond to everything. And then there's also, you can find us on the usaga.org, which is our umbrella, which is the organization in America that runs all the adaptive. Well, they don't run it, but they're the ones where all the information is. You can find a lot of information about adaptive golf through the usaga.org. So there's a bunch of places you can get a hold of us.
So great. All right, Larry, we got to take a quick break so that I can thank my sponsors. But when we come back, I've got some rapid fire questions. Are you up for answering a few of them?
Now I can answer all of
All right, awesome.
them. All right.
Everybody hang tight. Take a quick listen. We're going to be right back. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. Welcome back to the Positively Altered podcast with my guest, Larry Celano, who is a fabulous human being that golfs sitting down. And if you're just joining us, you got to rewind because you've definitely got to hear his story. But we're going to finish up with a couple rapid fire questions that I like to ask. Larry, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. If you could make snow, which you don't get to probably see too often, any color besides white, what would you make it?
Blue.
Blue. That's the most popular answer, Larry. Blue. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
All
Red
right.
then.
All right, red.
I was going to say yellow, but people eat yellow snow. I don't want to do that.
No, and you don't have to change your answer just because I'm questioning it. I want you to stick to what you think. All right, you're going to like this play on words. Let's adapt it to your life. If you could change the color of the sand traps, what color would you make them?
Invisible.
Yeah.
Make them invisible. Oh, if I can make the sand traps any color, they would be black, so I know to avoid them.
Okay, that's fair. I like that answer. All right, you are going to have dinner with a famous person. I really don't care who the person is. I want to know what meal you're going to pick to eat.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, that's a good one. I will have to go with, I'll go with my traditional steak and lobster.
Okay. Where do you get
That'd be my
lobster in
dinner.
Arizona?
Well, see, when I go back, remember, I was growing up in Connecticut, so I would just go back to Connecticut and go up to the coast a little bit and go to Maine.
Oh, so I'm
That means,
headed to Maine. Where do I go to get good lobster in Maine? Is there a favorite spot?
oh, that I don't know. I just know the Maine lobster. I just go right to the dock.
Nice. Well,
That's how we would get them.
I'm headed there in the cold, so I think we're off season for sure. For
Okay.
sure. All right. If you could be a famous singer, musician, or actor, what would you pick?
Oh, a singer for sure. Oh boy, I would be my Ozzy man.
Ozzy?
Ah! Oh yeah, no, I always had a vision of being a rock star. Boy, oh God, would I have some fun. I can't sing a lick, but I would be able to perform. And
Okay.
it's all about performing. Nobody listens to the singer.
You know, it's funny when I used to power lift when I was younger, I would get pumped to Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. That was my song.
Oh, oh, my daughter listens to that now. That's crazy. It's great.
Crazy Train. Yeah, with Ozzy, that's for sure. Oh
Yep.
my gosh, totally nuts. All right. And last but not least, Larry, what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
My favorite thing was actually getting to talk about what I love to do. I mean,
Oh,
anytime I get a chance to do what I love to talk about what I love to do, it's really fun. I mean, I have no problems talking about what I've done, where I've been, and where I'm going. I have no problems talking about the people that I've come in contact with, and I have no problems talking about my family.
oh,
I'm proud of everything I've done.
I love that, Larry. Real quick, you had a little show and tell for everybody before we leave, right? It wasn't a golf trophy.
Sure. It
Let's share
wasn't a
it.
golf trophy.
Let's
Okay.
hear it.
Here's well, I'll even tell you, I'll do a little story, okay. Okay, here's my Purple Heart, okay. Purple Heart, it's funny how people say this is the most awarding. I mean, you have to get shot to get this. But anyway, 1 million of these have been distributed throughout the history
Wow.
since they've been given out. Okay. Here's my pride. Here's my pride and joy. This is my combat jump. See the little gold brown thing in the middle, little mustard cluster?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what you get when you jump into combat. And to me, that's the biggest of all the awards you can get. You jump into another man's country. Okay. There's only been 90,000 of them in the history of America that have jumped out of planes. And then you take the trophy back there, my hole in one, and you put all three together. There's only like one or two people on the face of the earth that have all three of these together. Hole in one, Purple Heart, and a combat jump. One of a kind.
Larry Celano, the trifecta, you are one of a kind for sure. I am so blessed to have met you. And I do have to tell you, next time in Arizona, I'm going to call you because I'm going to bring my index and I want a fair shot at seeing if I can beat
Oh,
you standing
oh, that'd be great.
with my index. Are you up for that? Next time I'm in
I'm
Arizona?
always up for it. Oh yeah, for sure. That'd be a great time.
All right. I'm going to follow through on that next time I'm in town. Larry, you are an absolute delight. I thank you so much. My favorite thing
Thank
about
you.
today's podcast was really just allowing you to shine and share your story because you are impressive because of the human you are and not always, not only because of what you've done, but because of the heart that you truly have. I really thank you for your time today. One more time, how can everybody find you?
You can find me at either cards227@gmail.com or you can look us up at cedicgolfers.org.
Please do follow Larry in his journey. Help him out where you can. If you want to learn more about my journey, check us out at drcindyspeaks.com. Pick up the book Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the bottom of a chemo bag wherever books are sold. I hope today on this episode you all were positively altered.